Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now for the week that was. Let's take a look at the top stories that made headlines around the globe this week. And we're starting with U.S. President Donald Trump, who has doubled down on his claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. In a video released by the White House team on Wednesday, Trump reiterated his stance that Christianity is facing an existential threat and vowed to defend Christians in Nigeria.
I'm meeting a lot of people. I mean, it's hard to say that, but I'd like to meet him this year. President Xi would like me to come to China. It's a very important relationship. As you know, we're taking a lot of money in from China because of the tariffs and the different things. And it's a very important relationship. We're going to get along good with China. You know, we had 200 of their planes were unable to fly because we were not giving them Boeing parts purposely, because they weren't giving us magnets. Therefore, we weren't giving them. But we have a much more powerful thing that's tariffs. If we wanted to put 100%, 200% tariffs on, we wouldn't do any business with China. And, you know, it would be okay, too, if we had to. But
meanwhile, the federal government of Nigeria has accused those it calls foreign lobbyists of fueling the narrative of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris stated that the government findings point to a network of external actors, particularly in the United States, who are deliberately promoting divisive and misleading portrayal of Nigeria's security challenges. Now, Idris emphasized that while the administration recognizes that insecurity has affected many communities, there is no evidence supporting claims of systemic targeting of any religious group. Now, of course, we've seen this entire situation play out all week. And, I think that the points have been made on this particular issue. Granted, the majority of Nigerians will agree that there is a very, very concerning rate of insecurity in Nigeria. The insecurity in Nigeria is at a rate that has become very, very concerning. And in as much as we do not want to be associated with the genocide tagline, it is important to remember how we responded to that incident, how we responded to that statement, rather. The quick and the swift nature with which we defended our stance on insecurity to say that there is no genocide, there is no attack against any particular people, makes us understand that there is an awareness of what's going on in this country, which then begs the question of, if we're so quick to reject the claim of a genocide and reject any external force coming to play any kind of role in our country and in our decisions that naturally should be ours to make as a sovereign state. If we're so easy to reject such interventions, then we should also have the responsibility and be willing to be accountable enough to resolve these issues as it pertains to people. Nigerians are not rice. Nigerians are not inanimate objects. They're actual people. When people die and we announce the number of people that have died at a particular time, it's not a statistic we're reading. It is real people with real lives and real families and real children and real jobs that have been killed, that have been slaughtered, that have been massacred. And we've seen this happen across Nigeria at several times. In fact, incidences that, as a matter of fact, if not for specific media intervention in going to the locations, like what happened in Yelwata, exactly, in Benue State, where news agencies had to go there to really see what was going on, people would not really understand the gravity to how bad the situation is. You see families razed down, burnt to ashes. It is terrible. It is inhumane, to say the least. So, granted, there is no genocide, but we definitely need to fix our security system. We cannot continue to put the cat before the horse. We cannot continue to promise Nigerians that it will get better. It has to get better, and it has to get better now.
Definitely. You know, you're absolutely right that it has to get better. And now, when U.S. President Donald Trump has said a lot in the past week and even before that, leading up to Nigeria's designation as a country of particular concern, and then following that up with threatening possible boots on the ground or air raids. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are asking that, why is U.S. President Donald Trump doing this? What is America's interest
In
here
Nigeria.
beyond, claims that they're fighting for the Christians of the world or fighting against Christian genocide? Because, of course, when he said that there was a white genocide in South Africa, he did offer visas to Afrikaners. Now, maybe because of how unsuccessful that program was, he's decided not to offer visas to the Christians within Nigeria. Because, just recently I was reporting on a case where there were about 50 seats taken, and only 3 Afrikaners showed up, right?
Wow.
And some of the Afrikaners in America might not be so happy now that they're there because they've sent them to certain areas like North Carolina. But going beyond that, a lot of people are saying that perhaps it is racism. Let's call a spade, that white people get to get ferried into America while the actual refugee programs are being restricted to historically low levels. And at the same time, if you do believe there is a genocide in Nigeria, then why haven't you offered refuge to the Christians of Nigeria? And that is because the aim here is not to protect Nigeria. The aim here is not to protect Nigerian lives and livelihood. The aim here is to politicize what we have, which is a crisis of insecurity. And if you look at America's regional interests in Africa, of course, in 2024, Niger kicked America out of their country. They lost a very important base there in Niger, when they had poured at least $250 million to build their air base in Niger. The closest base to sub-Saharan Africa now is in Djibouti. That's quite far. So even if we think about the actual workability of them possibly having boots on the ground or having raids in Nigeria, it's definitely going to be difficult. Now, of course, AFRICOM in America has released a plan of what that would look like, either low, medium, or high level strategy of what it would look like when they come to Nigeria, or if they come to Nigeria, rather. But we also must think about America's interests here. They have security interests here, and they've lost their foothold in Niger. They do not have one in Nigeria. Nigeria has also been very decisive in saying that we're not allowing American convicts come here. And Nigeria has been very decisive in saying that we decide our own policy. We're not children, like our foreign minister Tuga said. The African leaders are not children who need to be told what to do. And we compare that to what we had heard in the past, whether it's Murtala Mohammed saying Africa has come of age. There's this sort of infantilization of Africans as though we do not understand our problems and they need to educate us and tell us what it is, as though we can't articulate our problems or solve them. Now, our government has obviously failed multiple times to solve this problem beyond terror waves, beyond clashes, beyond murders of people. This has become a country where actions do not have proper consequences.
Exactly.
And so if we've seen people being killed year after year and people are not held to account publicly, then these crimes are going to continue. And our government really needs to get serious, because we spoke about what they did when they went to Benue State. Instead of mourning the people who had been lost there, they had some sort of bonanza with gold-plated chairs and everyone welcoming the president as though it was a carnival instead of a moment to mourn.